Solomon Islands is an island country in Oceania with lots of unique places. It consists of 6 major islands and hundreds of smaller islands, and it boasts a peculiarly remarkable biodiversity that is unlike many others. Here are the top 9 things to do in the Solomon Islands. And sure to stick around until the end, as our number 1 will blow your mind away. Number 9. Explore Honiara. If you have heard a few things about the Solomon Islands, then chances are you already know that Honiara is one of the top places to visit here. Well, this is mainly because it is the country's capital and also the largest city in these parts. However, there's more to this incredible city that makes it very popular, and you certainly do not want to miss out on exploring it during your visit to the Solomon Islands archipelago. Firstly, it is where the Honiara International Airport is located, so you are most likely to first touch down here before you begin your tour around the country. Next, this city is one of the few inhabited islands in the country, so you may want to spend time with the ever-friendly locals. However, one of the highlights of the fantastic city is its central market, and you will definitely have fun exploring this busy market. The Honiara Central Market on Mendana Avenue is where fresh foods and fish are sold, and it is the country's largest outlet for such activities. The market is an excellent social site, as vendors from all around the country often bring their goods to sell here. So, as expected, the market is always busy crawling with buyers and sellers of local goods. If you really want to feel among in these parts, you should head down to the market and purchase a couple or more local produce. But that's not all. Honiara also boasts some spectacular structures with great significance, and a perfect example is the Solomon Islands National Museum. This museum is also located on Mendana Avenue, and it provides a deep insight into the country's rich history and culture. You certainly will be amazed by how much history this country has amassed in a very short time. Truly, the museum is relatively small, but it is endowed with many ancient relics and monuments, making it one of the top places to visit in Honiara. Number 8. Take a trip to Tanaru Falls. Once you've had your fill of the capital city, you may want to head out to explore the nearby Tanaru Falls. The waterfall is well renowned as it is the highest in the country and certainly among the most popular in the South Pacific. The water here falls off a cliff at an incredible height of over 60 meters into the Che River just underneath, and it is indeed a wonderful sight to behold. To get to the Tanaru Falls, you will have to hike through the heart of the unspoiled jungle, a trek that many have identified as one of the most exciting things to do in Guadalcanal Island. However, it is important to note that this trek is not for the faint-hearted because of its difficulty level, but if you can endure to the end, you can rest assured that the scene at the magical waterfalls is more than enough reward. Number 7. Bird watching at Kolombangara Island. If you are a fan of nature and you want to see it at its best, then you are right to choose the Solomon Islands as your vacation destination. However, you may want to head further down to Kolombangara Island for a deep dive into nature's beauty. The biodiversity here is superb, and you are sure to have a fulfilling time exploring the mostly untapped plants and wildlife. However, the most notable feature of this island is the over 80 rivers and streams running down its flanks. Another of the most catchy things about this island is the numerous bird species flying above the trees and making delightful noises, so you already know to bring along a pair of binoculars when coming. Of the many activities to be enjoyed on this island, tourists have singled out bird watching as the highlight of their visit here, and a trial might convince you too. You may want to head up to Imberano Lodge, which offers high ground for this purpose, to enjoy the view of rare bird species in their natural habitats. Number 6. Scuba diving at Bonegi Beach. The Solomon Islands archipelago boasts some excellent beaches, but not many are as unique and spectacular as the Bonegi Beach in the west of Guadalcanal. This beach is nothing less than perfect, with white sand set along a crystal clear water body and surrounded by tall palm trees. It is the perfect example of a beach setting and is undoubtedly one of the best in the world. As such, you will always find locals and tourists sunbathing here and enjoying the absolutely sublime scenery the beach offers. It gets even better because, unlike most beaches, Bonegi supports various beach sports and water activities, such as swimming, scuba diving, and snorkeling. So, if you are an avid scuba diver, this is the place to be. Even if you're a beginner, You can always count on the friendlies here to teach you a thing or two, as long as you have your complete gear. By the way, if you want to learn how to save money on airfares, then click the link in the description below. This guide will teach you how to always get the cheapest flights. Number 5. Enjoy war history at the Peter Joseph World War II Museum. You may not know this, but the Solomon Islands saw a lot of action during the Second World War. It also has documented many activities during the war, so you should now know where to go if you want to learn 1 or 2 new things about World War II. The Peter Joseph World War II Museum is dedicated solely to this purpose, and you can count on this war history hub to give you a new perspective on your account of the events. Well, there isn't much more to say about the museum, but you will find there's more than enough to learn once you get there. Number 4. Enjoy a fun-filled day at Gizo Island. Gizo is an island in the western province of the Solomon Islands, and it is one of the most habited islands here, with over 7,000 people. It houses a few towns and villages, including its namesake town Gizo, which is the province's capital. The island is about 1.5 hours away from Honiara by flight, and it is often only accessible by boat from the nearby domestic airport. Gizo may not be the most popular island on the archipelago, but it is one of the most exciting to visit. There are numerous fun activities to take on here, including swimming, fishing, and diving. You can take a tour around town to witness some exciting architecture, like the St. Peter's Apostle Catholic Cathedral, among others. Surely, this relatively developed island is worth a place on your bucket list of places to visit on the Solomon Islands. Number 3. Explore the uninhabited Kennedy Island. I bet you didn't know there's a whole island named after the famous J.F. Kennedy in the Solomon Islands. Well, there certainly is one, and you may want to take a detour here during your tour of this beautiful country. Wondering how this island came to be named after a US president? Well, long story short is that it had to do with an event featuring Kennedy in World War II. After a Japanese destroyer wrecked his ship in 1943, Kennedy and his crew remained stranded on the island for 2 days before being rescued. As a result, the island was renamed Kennedy Island, which is now one of the most popular attractions in these parts. Number 2. Immerse in the cultural displays and local dishes. It will be wrong to talk about the incredible Solomon Islands without a mention of the diverse cultural history and backgrounds in these parts. The population here is mainly of Melanesian descent, but also consists of Polynesians, Micronesians, Europeans, and Chinese, so you already know to expect diverse traditions and cultural displays. Although the people here share similar values, they have a distinct cultural heritage that will surely capture your interest. Another thing to enjoy in this country is the delicious local dishes, which they have in abundance. Of course, you will be eating a lot of poi during your tour, as the starchy Polynesian food paste is among the most popular here. However, you will also be left satisfied with the sublime taste of other local dishes like taro root chips, tuna coconut curry, palusami, and coconut pudding, among others. Number 1. Marvel at the scenes of the sacred Skull Island. Surely you must have heard of the famous Skull Island, and it will interest you to know that it is situated in the Solomon Islands archipelago. This island is a sacred region and features a shrine that displays over 50 trophy male skulls. Here's a quick explanation of how these skulls came about. Headhunting was a significant part of the Melanesian culture, and it involved decapitating and preserving the head of enemies as a trophy after defeating them. These skulls, which are believed to date back to the 17th century, were gathered and stored on this island, and this brought about its name. Skull Island is a 30-minute boat ride from the nearby city of Munda, and you will pass through several uninhabited islands to get there. Per cultural practice, only the local chief is permitted to take tourists to the island after performing the necessary ritual. However, you can rest assured of an eye-opening experience exploring this island. Click here for more places to visit in Oceania.